Tonight, we're covering the good, the bad, and the ugly. A little bit of Gold Cup Champions Crown, and the ASCS National Tour came to Colorado. Here we go.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Good evening, really good evening, all the way from Petersburg, Virginia, here in my fancy Delta hotel room on the road again. But yeah, Blair and Brandon back on the mic tonight, fresh off a wild weekend in Calhoun, Colorado, at the El Paso County Speedway. Yeah, blast. We're going to get right into it, but yeah, had a great weekend with the Coopers and Tom and everybody. We had a lot of alumni at the track, so it was really cool to stop and talk with a lot of people. I feel bad, honestly, for Blair and Tara, because I felt like I was 90% talking to people and 10% helping on the car, and I say helping in big quotation marks. But nevertheless, Blair, how are you feeling after a big weekend?
You know, I'm a little bit relieved to have at least the car together and everything done, and now we can kind of work from there, because that was nothing but thrashing for a full week, and trying to get all the work done and then build a car on top of it. So nothing fell off. So that was a good thing.
Yeah, I was actually we'll get into it. Blair will get into it rather, but we were all sitting in the grandstands for the A feature, and I was telling Blair that I don't know if it was the track announcer or the Dirt Vision guy, whichever, actually had the full story on Blair leading up to the race, which we're still not sure how he got that information, which maybe, like Blair said, he watched the podcast, which is even better. Did mess up the chassis manufacturer, but nevertheless gave the full story on what an accomplishment it was for Blair to even be there attempting the race, with getting the new chassis on Tuesday. Tom and Blair thrashing on that thing all night up until Saturday, essentially, and getting there. So I thought that was a cool little story that they covered on you.
Yeah, you know what's funny too is, like, even the sprint car, I always talk about what a simple machine is, a simple machine it is, and it really is. Like, I mean, it's not like putting together a late model or something, but when you actually have to go through it, it's like we had the motor plate, dash, all that stuff in. Drive line took the longest because it's hard to line up the spline. Sometimes you just miss it, just a pain in the ass. But as far as all that, like heavy bolt-on stuff, that went relatively quickly. But what you forget is then you got to burp the radiator, get it full of fluid. We did have to take it off on that chassis. You go down to bleeding brakes and putting the steering gear oil, all the little intangibles and stuff like that. And just the tabs were missing on some of the Zeus fasteners. So it was just like, you thrash. And by the time we got the body on, it's 9:30 on Friday night. And we're supposed to get up there Saturday morning and go race. And we got to fire the car even to make sure everything's holding on. And the last minute we're running valves and everything. I know I changed oil when it was in the other car waiting on this chassis and tried to get as much as I could done. But you really do. Everybody's like, man, you made a ton of progress. You'll be done in no time. I'm like, well, one more night and about, full day later, we actually have it together and squared, and the rear end was out of square and some pickup points had changed, and it's definitely hammer time when you do it under the gun. It's not like I do it every week or have a full crew too. We're trying to do it after work in our upholstery shop in my parents' business. It's not set up for race car stuff, honestly, but we made it work. So yeah, Tom, big shout out to him. My father-in-law, he absolutely we had hell getting the rear end squared this time for some reason, and we probably spent 2.5 hours on it. Usually it takes like 15 minutes. So it's just one of those things, when you need to go quick, it just won't.
Yeah. Did we ever tell you that when you were speaking to the Zeus fastener tabs that weren't welded onto the chassis? I know I'm laughing like crazy at Greg's comment there. We'll get to that. But when we were putting the metal zip ties on for that panel there on the left side, did he tell you that, I think it was you who put that side on, you actually zip tied the brake line in that metal? Did he tell you? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you.
I don't know if you knew this, but I run soft brake lines too. So They're not steel braided lines like everything else, and they're only a 2AN, so they're super small and very soft. So that's why they're usually electrical tape. We don't even put zip ties over them unless they're loose, just a backup. But
Yep.
yeah,
Well,
and I put
I'm glad we caught that
over it. And, yeah, so good stuff.
Or your bad night could have went to extremely bad in a big hurry.
Yeah. So, I do think it's funny. I must not have got all the air out of it because Greg and I had actually talked about it at the track. And looking back at it, I went when I unrolled the car yesterday, Tara was pushing the brakes, and it's like they were hanging up a little bit. Even though I was using them so much that everybody just thought they were on fire. I mean, he said that your brakes look like the sun when I had needed sunglasses to stare at them. So.
I think I had 3 people come up to me and be like, I saw the brake rotor from turn, well, I guess it'd be the back where it was sitting. So good stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, shout out to Barry and Greg there. Had a nice conversation about the podcast with those guys and kind of what we do in the wintertime with the iRacing series. So it was good to meet those guys because like we were talking about when Blair and Tara had Barry on, I was actually a father for a week at that time. So took a week off there, but and thanks for the shirt. Told Blair I fully intended to pack it in my suitcase with me today, but I forgot. So I will wear it next week, but appreciate the shirt there. Yeah. But yeah, we'll take a break for our presenting partner, Racing Rowdy Ranch, and then Blair's going to dive into the good, the bad, the ugly, as he mentioned there in the cold open, and dive right into it. Learned a lot this weekend for sure. I think we all did. But yeah, Racing Rowdy Ranch. Huge shout out to Austin Gossel. He's been complaining that he doesn't have a hat. So we got him hooked up there, and now the expectation is, since he's the next Kyle Larson coming out of the state of Colorado, that he wears the Throwin Sliders hat in every podium interview and everything to give us more camaraderie and notoriety, whatever you want to use there. So Austin, if you're listening, you have to wear that hat. You can wear your other 16 hat whenever you want, but when you're in interviews, you have to wear it. So anyway, racingrowdyranch.com, get yours. Hopefully try to sell them out here. So you know what to do.
Racing Rowdy Ranch was created with one person, one adjective, and one place in mind: the blue-collar racer and crew behind the scenes. A word that can describe these racers and crews and how they live. Finally, a place where the straightaways and turns are these racers' pastures and hills, all bordered by concrete walls that could share more than their fair share of memories, even after several coats of paint. We are racing. We live rowdy and we long to be at the ranch, riding for the brand. An apparel company designed to showcase just that, push the limits every day, and be proud of who we are. Visit racingrowdyranch.com now to order yours today. Saddle up, strap in, and live rowdy. Proud presenting partner of Scrubbin' Tires Media and the Throwin Sliders podcast.
All right, there you go. Get you some Throwin Sliders hats and or Racing Rowdy Ranch hats. Before Blair gets in kind of the weekend, we're having a lot of fun in the comments tonight. Hopefully, Mr. Troy Ullery is okay. Obviously, we didn't get to see what happened on the track, but we saw the aftermath. He was kind of pitted adjacent to us in the front, but seemed like he was walking around talking to everybody. And so hope you're in good spirits, Troy. And it was cool to see BJ out there, meet him in person. Got his last name right first try, so that was good. And then we had another alumni actually win the Lightning Sprints event, and we told her that she raced, I think she said 3 times after she came on the show, and then she ended up not getting it done, but we told her keep good faith, and lo and behold she won. So that was cool to see. But anyway, into the night. What's up?
I was going to tell you, there was a video of Troy's wreck. I did see it. My brother showed it to me today. I actually meant to call Troy, but that was a nasty wreck. So, and I got out.
DJ's saying he is good, super sore. I imagine he is after looking after.
Well, we caught a glimpse of him, and his head was already bruised all the way around here. I was like, geez, that was a hit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was a nasty one. I saw him I wanted to go talk to him, but then, it was pure chaos for us with the pain and all that. But anyway, so yeah, glad to hear he's okay. I'm sure he's sore, and hopefully he gets it back together and gets going again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so the good, Brandon, I don't know what you thought. It turned out to be it was a nice day. Overall, I thought it's pretty amazing to see. We were a little bit worried, and we talked about it in the pre-show with the asphalt race going on. Obviously, Kevin Harvick and his son Keelan racing the Cars West Tour Pro Late Models at Colorado National up the road about an hour and 20 minutes or something like that. We weren't sure exactly what the stands were going to look like, but Colorado dirt fans really came out and showed up for, most in the sport mods they came out to see.
Yeah, those damn sport mods, I'm telling you.
And the sprint car bonus for them. So that was
We
pretty
should
cool.
have ran those the last night or the last event of the night.
Yeah, I love it that they didn't even give them heat races. I don't think so.
No, it
that makes me feel good after all the shit those guys talked. I see Barry and them in there. At least they were there to pack the track for us. But Barry ended up running up front. We talked about them, about their car, and they had ended up changing a wholesale bunch of changes on the car and ran really good and ended up, he said, stepping in a little bit there right at the end. But so I mean, you and I, when we went up to watch, or the four of us went up to watch the main after we had made the show,
I was even going to backtrack, and Jen Woods, by the way, is who I was talking about in the Lightning. So congrats to Jen. But no, Tom, your father-in-law and I actually went up there because Tom almost fell off the grandstand there, right off the pits there, and I was like, all right, Tom, I don't want to, call the ambulance over here for you. So we went and sat up there. Don't get me wrong, that man is in great physical shape. I hope I'm in that good a shape when I'm that age, but it was just a happenstance and not a big deal, but we were just joking around. So we went up in the grandstands, first time I've ever been in the actual grandstands there at El Paso. And even, I think this was during the heat race, and we barely could find a spot to sit in the heat races. So to your point about the feature, I mean, it was elbow to elbow up there, which is great.
Yeah, I think we found the only place where the four of us could sit, and it was right down where my ears were just ringing after. So pretty cool to see that dirt is definitely alive and well. And obviously the sprint car shows. And I'd actually been on the phone with Bellin before talking about it, and he was a little worried. He said August is always tough. And I go around and around with these promoters all over when we go to places. I'm like, if you put up the purse, if you make sure you get a good car count, the people will come. And obviously, that was good for him too, to have a good show. So the more you see stuff like that, the more big shows we'll get, and the more guys want to come to Colorado. And even the guys from Dirt Vision and stuff said they were just surprised at how much sprint car racing's grown here from basically being non-existent, a few years ago, or dying out, and now the resurgence. So,
well, let's take some damn credit for that, huh? This the only thriving. Is it the only podcast in Colorado? I don't know, but at least the only dirt for sure. But anyway, we'll pat ourselves on the back for that. But no, seriously good to see. And what was the final car count for sprint cars? 29, something like
29,
that.
29,
yeah. So
they're going to be on it all night. I just had to put that up there.
Oh man, love it, Barry and Greg. Keep it coming. The good, like I said, the car count obviously having a national, streamed broadcast, if you will, always helps matters. I know that CNS had the same up there with low budget, but just all in all, really greatly ran show from top to bottom. The air horns every time they come off scared the shit out of me, and you're clicked into maximum overdrive. But I think that is a way better idea. So shout out to ASCS for doing that, because I'm not going to name any names or years or anything, but when I have been driving, it's a PA system that maybe works on one end but doesn't on the other. When you get to your car or trailer, you're getting screamed at. Where are you? Why aren't you lined up for a hot lap? Well, how the hell was I supposed to know? And the class that's before me isn't even. Anyway, so the air horn thing, everybody, even outside of that track could have heard, okay, that's the 8 minutes, that's 4 minutes. Like, you got to get your shit together. So very well ran show from top to bottom. Obviously, we kind of in the Cooper pit kind of talked about what the night probably would look like with 24 or whatever they took to the main, which we'll talk about. But obviously we thought there would be some cautions. A lot of them. I think the friendly bet over under was 4. A lot of people took over 4. I think it ended up being 6 or 7. But just kind of understanding it's a small track. There's a lot of fast cars here and a lot of cars in general. But weather was perfect. Kind of got cloudy, a little bit of rain, but nothing to stop the show, so it cooled off. So that was a lot of good for sure. And I'll let you get into the bad.
Well, I mean, I guess the bad and the ugly are all kind of one, but back to getting the car together on my end, I'd say the bad part of it is that we rolled into the gate, and they draw pills for you. You don't even pull your own pill.
Yeah, what the hell's going on with you in pill draws, man? Shit.
I don't know. It's terrible, but Yeah, so we roll through, and of course I got up there early. I like to get we rolled into the track early. The guys that had raced Joaquini were all there, had their rigs out doing motor maintenance and stuff under the tents, and a lot of shirts off. That's weird. Those national.
I did, yeah. I was like, "What's going on here? I'm too fat to be
Yeah.
rolling around on an e-bike."
Yeah, that's a side note. But I'm like, what are these all dirt bike guys? But anyway, a lot of dudes with their shirts off. I was like, that's weird. My wife was even like, put your shirts on. But anyway, so yeah, we go up and I get a transponder, sign in, and show them my license and everything. And they spin the pill around and drops out an 86. And I was like, the guy looked at me and I said, is that out of 1,000? I said, that's pretty good. That's out of 1,000, right? And he just smiled. He didn't even say anything. And I was like, shit, that's a bad start. So at Callahan, generally the track's going to take a huge swing
Sure.
between the first guy out to qualify, even if there's 18 cars, let alone 29. And, with that cool weather, it did hold some moisture. But by the time I got out there, there was only one car behind me, Zach Merritt. So we're both Colorado guys. And so you got all these fast dudes out there and they're running this thing in and the track's lightning fast early. In fact, Hafferty broke the record, track record, which was faster than the World of Outlaws time when they had come. The 360.
I guess I didn't know that. They didn't announce that, or I didn't hear it. Wow.
Yeah, it's on. They posted it on Facebook. He went like a 12.68.
Because I thought Austin had they said that Austin had the previous track record from
he might.
May, maybe. Anyway.
Yeah, he very well could have. But anyway, so I guess Hafferty has it now to 12.68. And, I figured the last time we were there, I went to 13.1. The track was a little slower than it was. So I figured if we're right in that ballpark, well, at least, I didn't want to overcook it and really screw up the lap. Because if you burn turn one there, I've seen really fast guys put themselves out of it early. Yeah. So we go out late and there's a hump that formed, and we'll have to put the video up. We'll post it to our Facebook page here, but ended up with both rear wheels off the ground. Brandon was lucky enough to get some video of it, straightened me out. And I thought I was going to hit the fence literally first corner of qualifying with 3 laps on the car and just destroy it. But luckily it gathered back up. And so the second lap, I didn't know exactly where that bump was, and I didn't want to pick the car up off the ground again. So I kind of pooched it just barely off the gas and back to it, missed it. Well, 3/10 at a show like that's going to kill you. If we'd had 3/10 on the car, it would have at least put us probably somewhere in the middle of the heat race. And hopefully you can do good there. Don't have to run the last chance B main. But anyway, it didn't work out like that. We got the car a little better for that heat. And
well, let me stop you. So back to your point about, losing the momentum and the 3/10 there. So as I mentioned, Tom and I were up in the stands, or no, we were up in the stands for that as well. And, I'm trying to get good footage for you to, come back to the trailer, see what you did good, did wrong, whatever, indifferent, in between. And when you go down into turn 1, like I'm watching my phone, and like that's the downfall to, recording, is like you're not actually watching, and and that's just part of it, whatever. So I'm watching, and it felt like a full second, and probably milliseconds, like in actual reality. But I hear you come out of the gas for like a full second, and immediately in my mind, I didn't even see what happened because I'm so focused on you. And then I was like, what the hell? And then you get it back gathered, and you're just like you said, not going full speed. And then immediately after you take the checker for qualifying, I rewatched the video, and I was like, holy shit, did you see that, Tom? He's like, no, I didn't see what happened. I was like, watch. He's like, oh shit. I'm like, yeah, that could have been real bad.
Yeah. Well, and it's greasy up there. So, I was able to actually flat foot through 3 and 4. So, but I knew what that meant is that if those guys were carrying a full load of steam down there, that coming out of there, you better have the car wound up. But that one little blip down into 1 and 2, it's like that track, you could probably, if you had it right, we're real close to flat footing it for that first 15, guys.
Yeah, there's a couple cars. I want to say, who did I tell your wife was lifting? I think it was Brian Gossel, where that concrete wall is that the 93 smoked in the main. He lifted right there, but other than that, it was
which is pretty awesome, because that's generally not the conditions we get there. And in fact, that's kind of I learned a lesson too, as part as the bad goes, is never to read the racetrack, especially dirt, is going to be different every time. And I think when you have a history at some places, I just assume that 95% of the time that place is already going to be slicking off. But we had heard in the pit meeting, they told us, hey, we put 100,000 gallons on this thing. And then the weather cooled off. It's going to hold up. But in my mind, I still thought we're going to have to tighten this thing up a little bit. And it came back to bite me. And then obviously we got behind in the day. And this is part of the ugly is, so I start from behind, bad qualifying spot, didn't really execute like I should have there. And then you go to the heat race, car's a little better, but we only picked up one spot in the heat.
And you have to set it up differently than, we figured, you'd at least qualify mid-pack, even maybe a little bit better towards the front. And then when qualifying happened, I just smacked my hand on the table. When qualifying happened like that, then we're like, okay, now we have to adjust because you don't want to be loose in the heat race and you're going to have to pass a lot of cars. So we got to tighten you up. And then, yeah.
Well, and I think maybe on the top and, shame on me, but, it is funny how that thing changed to where it was okay. I mean, I had to glow the rotor to keep the car turning. So I was able to lay on it. It just wouldn't turn. And we pick up that spot. And I mean, you only got 8 laps on a quarter-mile track. It's going to be tough anyway, especially when that thing's juiced up. So I knew that was our only shot, is to try to do it on the top most of the time. But when it won't turn on the top, you went too far. It's like I had to move all the way forward. I was like, there's nothing in it.
Crossover move, though. That coming out of 3, that was badass. It was you and
Merritt.
Was it Merritt? I thought it was Nichols.
In the heat?
Not. Yeah.
Oh, in the heat, it was me and Merritt. Yeah, because I think he was actually, I probably screwed him up so bad. I went in there to turn and the car literally would not turn. It went straight up the hill. So he probably was like, I have no idea what the hell's going on. Talk about hard to pass when nobody knows where the hell you're going.
You should make a reel out of that. No one needs to know what position it was for. It was a badass crossover.
But and so then in that, we ended up having to go to the B main, start basically. There was a couple cars behind us in the B main. We had to race up to 7th. I think they were taking the top 7.
6th.
Okay, top 6.
Bruce finished 6th, and that was the transfer, I believe.
For Nichols, because he ended up. So in fact, I got his shirt on. He's the one who beat me out for the spot. So we were in.
Either way,
Booze was in front of me, and then Nichols ended up getting by me to knock me out. So my buddy.
Damn, I was confused.
Yeah, no, I was counting, and so we were locked in, and I thought, man, we're in. I'm not going to push it any further. I wasn't going to get by Johnny. Car was still just glowing rotor and really tight, and we only had 2 to go. Well, the caution comes out, and I had felt the left rear tire had grown, which is pretty crazy because I run nitrogen. But I think between the brake heat, I could feel the brake in my butt from the heat being, that seat's right under there. It was heating up my left butt cheek like crazy. So I knew they were glowing. And it's for some reason that left rear, I don't know if we didn't get all the air out of it just in a rush. Cause I usually bleed them off with nitrogen a couple times. And, man, talk about 2 laps and Nick just came and shoved it down in there. And it was clean. And I'm like, whoa, now he's got underneath me and I'm not going to wreck us both trying to get back to him when I don't have the car. So I got him fade away for at the white flag, and it was like, man, our night's over. And talk about ugly. I've never missed a show. Not that we have 30 cars every week or anything, but even back to asphalt, it was like I really never planned on not making the show. And I'd even joked with Barry about it. We text back and forth, and he was giving me crap, and I'm like, I might not even make the show, but I guess maybe it's just arrogance. But I'm always kind of like, we'll be okay. We pretty decent. At least get in, and we were just teasing each other, But
if you come, unless you're like the car's hanging on with duct tape and zip ties, and you're missing stuff, you have the expectation that you're going to make every show, right? So I don't think it was a mindset being too arrogant or not enough confidence. It was literally just like I was telling your wife right after the B main. It was just like, that qualifying deal threw everybody for a loop. And, we don't have these, I'm not calling myself a mechanic by any stretch, but we don't have these dedicated 15 engineers and pit guys, in your hauler to say, oh, here's what we need to do. Like, we're all kind of like, well, this, and this. And we kind of combined our thoughts and ideas and put it, and we missed. And that's just, so I strongly disagree with your,
I was just kind of, and it was funny because we were just teasing each other, you know what I mean?
No,
but when it comes to fruition, it was like, man, I've had I've had girls break up with me and a lot of stuff that didn't feel near as bad as that, man. It's like, I've been to funerals where I didn't feel as bad about
that's on you heartless
show. I mean, racing's everything, you know. So it's funny. A lot of the guys have been calling and ripping me, you know, my buddies that are my age, but a lot of the other guys, you know, that watch the show and everything. It's like the words of encouragement. It made me laugh. You know, it's like, oh, these are nice guys. My friends are all dicks. Like, you suck and you should probably quit. You know what I mean? I love that too, because it's like I do the same thing to them.
Right.
But
well, it's motivation too. Like we all got to get better, and you know, those situations will definitely, the longer you race, as all the people in the comments can attest, like that it's going to happen again. So you just got to get a little bit smarter and, you know, be prepared.
Yeah, lessons learned, man. It still was a good time. And that's one thing I think I'm so grateful. Like, you know, they were even joking. It's like our little trailer inside of CS semis with multiple cars and stuff, you know, and I really feel like if we could have done a few things differently, a few things went our way, we could have been at least decent. I just don't think we had it in that new car to be up front that night. Just wasn't going to be our night. But anyway, it's like, you know, how grateful I actually am. Sometimes I have to remember that, because I do get so competitive, and I like to joke around with people in the pits and stuff, but inside it's like just that burning, you know, it cannot suck at this. And but you know, with Tom and I working late into the night, and then Tara doing tires on the weekend, and you coming out to help me. I mean, I had you cutting tires when they blew the 8-minute horn, and you know, we're on the car, I'm buckling in, and Brandon's there cutting tires in the 100-degree heat, just, I mean, boiling out there with the hot iron, and you know, siping everything up and trying to get us ready, and we barely make the second horn. And you know, it's like take a drink and roll. But you know, all the people that came over and talked to us too, I mean, it really is just a big family atmosphere. And I mean, I've told you, and you got to see it now, like racing in Colorado is actually tough because of the social part of it. It is a big family. And, you know, I'm like, I have to remember, we have to work on the car. I don't have a crew, cheap, you know, and some paid guys. It's us. So it's like, we have to balance all those.
You know, and me being like an observer in a way, like I said, doing 90% talking, 10% working on the car, these guys, and I'm going to hold back my comment about people packing the track and not packing the track. That's a story for a different time. But literally, like Blair's mentioning, these guys, and good for them. Like I'm jealous. We're jealous. I'll speak on Blair's behalf. They go back to the pits and they unbuckle and they're going into the damn trailer. They all got TVs and they're watching the Dirt Vision broadcast. And meanwhile, their engineers and their crew guys are thrashing on the car. Well, we don't have that. You know what I mean? So it's like, if someone comes and talks to Blair, like, it's also, you know, not hurting, but affecting the progress, right? Because it's like, well, I don't want to make this adjustment without Blair's okay, you know, or whatever. So it's just a way different tale of two tapes, right? Like when you're on the road and have that, you know, the big semi and the people with you is the main thing. But it is different. You know, that's, I think, to me, that's one thing, like you know, to when you do go out and beat those guys, you know, any of them, it's like, man, that's really, and BJ actually just put it in the comments. You know, I have had the big rig and stuff before. When my brother and I both raced asphalt, the semi with the stackers, and, you know, you put 4 cars in there and you got all your tools and everything. And really, though, I think the one thing I have tried to put together is at least one really good car. And it's not the best, but it's pretty damn good. You know, it's competitive. And it's like, if you can get that going, and then your knowledge, and then the effort, like, I feel like those 3 things, you may not be able to race 75 times a year on the road, because that's really what that comes down to, is you got to do all your maintenance at, you know, on car washes. And so it's pretty cool. But you know, if you do go out and beat those guys, it really feels like you're doing something. So that is that fuel, and to keep building. Clyde wants me to buy you a rig. Oh yeah, you should. Yeah, I should. You know, I'll just write you a check right now. Let me give them all up. You know what? I actually don't even need the rig. I just need the sprint car trailer, and that's going to be an upgrade we're getting, because taking that damn wing off. That's all you need. Okay, even better. I'll write you the check. Just an Intech. They're $90K new. It's fine. Perfect. I'll furnish it. I've got the wing holders and all that. Yeah, there you go. So, Clyde, big dream in there. I wish. I mean, shit. If I had that much money floating around, I would, for one, have a sprint car to race myself. If I had that kind of money and room and time and everything. But I think, I mean, going back to obviously the ugly there, and then kind of the gray area of watching the race kind of as a crew up there. I mean, I thought it was a pretty good show. I think towards the end there, can't remember 32 car's name that won the damn thing, but, or not the 32, Jason Martin, 39, 36, whatever. Coming out of 4 there, watching him get loose before that 92 car plowed the wall there. That was, I feel like if that caution wouldn't have come out, man, that was going to be a
He's
hell of
getting
a
chased
finish.
down. Yeah.
But yeah, I think all in all, obviously, from my perspective, that main, I don't envy anybody that was in it, because, you know, if you weren't leading the damn thing like Martin was, there was a lot of dust. And with that many cars on the track, I mean, they were just, you know, bumper to bumper. And I mean, kudos. I mean, a lot of the 6 or 7 cautions that we mentioned were just spin outs, nothing egregious until the 92-pound of defense there. But yeah, I thought all in all a great show. I think it really, I mean, the crowd seemed electric, and I think it was a really good show. So hats off to ASCS Dirt Vision, Joe, obviously, really, you know, worth the price of the armband, you know, and obviously sucked not you being out there is kind of awkward and whatever. But, and I honestly, I was like, after the B main, I was like, all right, let's pack up, let's leave. And then we're like, you know, like we paid the $40 to get in here. Let's go, you know, support, you know, everybody else. So.
Well, the only thing I can say about that is I've actually never watched one of those shows. Yeah. So, I mean, for me, you know, to hear that place absolutely just shaking when they throw the green on that, it's like, you know, that's pretty cool to see why, like, I actually get to see from the fan perspective. I've only watched one of their sprint car race in my life outside of, you know, like that we should have been racing in. Sure. Or that, you know, that I went to. So like I said, I wasn't somebody who grew up doing this or going to dirt tracks or anything like that. So it kind of brought me back to what I told my wife. She never really sat on the fan side until we got together. It was always in the pits. It's just a different dynamic, and to see people on their feet, you know, all the pictures, it's really something.
Everybody around us was live on some social media platform. It was absolutely insane. And kudos to those 2 flagmen. My God, it was like they're in a hurricane for 20 minutes. Like, I don't know how they can flag a race. I mean, the one guy's like has his head turned, like it's wild. It's crazy.
Yeah. So no, that was fun. I mean, that part of it, at least, you know, and then you do get to reflect, and it's like, I don't ever want to sit up here again. So, you know, it's like it really does. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we took it hard, but then we went and gave hugs all around the pits. You know, after I got to see Nick, I went and, you know, and Trimble, I root for him, and it's a lot of our local guys. It's like, go get him now.
God,
you know, he kind of had
give out a hard charger award, because he damn sure got it if they do.
He probably had to have, yeah. So, but all these comments, I got to put this up here. This is just a fun show tonight. Yeah. But yeah, Barry's wife wouldn't like that. He says, I would love to go to the fan side, but I would be jumped by the fans. So he'd be signing foreheads and shaking babies. But so that was pretty cool. We got to go in the pits, and it's all hugs and love, and everybody that was disappointed or everybody that was excited, you know. So it's a mix. So you let that go, and you realize that we were doing the math. I think there's about 1,000 sprint car drivers in the country. I did look it up on the way home after we had talked about that. And it's like, you know, there's 330 million people and 1,000 guys getting to drive winged or wingless across the country. And then, you know, you got some in Australia, South Africa, and Canada. And so that's kind of cool to be a part of that. And especially when you see how much people get pumped up. But and then it was championship night too. I felt a little bad for those guys. I know that's what some of the controversy was on the interwebs, but they didn't get heat races, I don't believe. And on a championship night, you know, that's tough. I would have thought they'd move it down a weekend or two, but
I think Jordan was saying they lined them up based on points, maybe current points, and that's how they ran their feature. Which, I mean, I guess if you're doing well, great for you, and you start up front. But it was a little odd, and you know, like I was mentioning, the show was, you know, from the sprint car side was bang, 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 which is excellent. But yeah, it was a little odd because it was like, you know, wanted to watch Brayson run, and you know, I looked out of the trailer and he's in street clothes. I'm like, man, what? Like, or when are they up? And then I go talk to Jordan. He's like, oh, we already run. I was like, what? Like, you know, obviously we were thrashing on the car probably more than we should have on a typical night. But I was like, damn, man, like we couldn't even watch Barry run. Like, if you're not watching, you know, Blair or whoever you're pitting with, like, it's just part of it. But you know, we're there to help and we're there to work, not be a spectator drinking beer and, you know, eating hot dogs in the grandstand. So I get it. But
you guys get barbecue at least, huh? Did you eat barbecue?
I didn't. I brought those beef sticks, and I had a sub sandwich without any mayonnaise or condiments on it, and it was very dry. And that's when I lost my sunglasses, but we found them.
Oh, you never found them still?
No, we did. Yeah, they were in your gear bag, your helmet bag for whatever reason.
Yeah. I was stealing them.
Well, wouldn't be the first time. So I have a good taste in sunglasses. So
Yeah, Brandon actually
uh,
saved my ass. That was funny. I didn't even remember that until you brought it up, and you pretty much saved my life going home because I hadn't eaten the entire day. I completely forgot to eat, and then you pulled out a beef jerky stick or something, and I was like, Brandon, can I please have another one of those? Because everybody was sold out of food.
yeah,
I'm like, we didn't really pack that much. It was like a bag of chips on my way home and 2 beef jerky sticks in 24 hours or something. I was like, geez, I forgot to even eat. We were so busy.
yeah. No, I props to Michael and the wife for doing that. All the Gatorades, water, and everything like that. But yeah, it was. And when you, like I said, I wanted to eat, and I think it was in between the heat and the main or something, because I was like, man, when we get going here. But yeah, I think the beef jerky sticks are going to be a tradition going forward, because you just never know.
Yeah,
So
delicious.
shout out to whatever brand that is. I don't even know what brand it is, from Target. So good stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
I see him in the comments too, real quick. My buddy Clyde, he got in his he has a hobby stock, and he ran with the Thunder stocks up there at Fort Morgan. So so anyway, he said he had some problems in the main, but also his friend Brock Berry got a championship up there. I know Fort Morgan was racing as well. So I mean, it's like there was dirt tracks and everything going on in the state, and it sounded like they had a really good crowd there too. And Corey Mallow, former Scrub and Tire Pod alumni, they did a memorial race for his dad. So he finished second in that, but pretty cool to see. A lot of people came out and support, and obviously we're big fans of Corey Mallow. So anyway, but sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I'm glad you said that, because he's a good kid, and like I said, I've known that family since I was in 7th grade playing football with his brother Justin. So I've lost my train of thought there, but what the hell was I going to say? Something good, but must not. And what's that?
Sorry. I mean to step on it.
You're good. But yeah, what I was going to say actually is obviously be back on the September 6th. Is that correct?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. And my wife's going to be gone. So it's going to be you, me, and I do have an interim crew chief. It's a top secret right now, but I got on the phone today, and so it's not set in concrete, but the plan is we're going to have actually some knowledge behind us. So maybe we can see what we do there.
I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
I just get in it and try to stand on it and steer it and hope to God it doesn't go over the wall. But
well,
we're learning.
You're successful then, if that's the case.
Yeah, that's part one. So
right. All right. Well, the only other segment we had today was talking about dirt dollars for the high limit side. We'll get into that, but did want to shed some light on Mountain Op. So a lot of you guys obviously saw firsthand. Blair and I were sipping on that all week long and at the track. Obviously not just showboating or whatever, like we actually used the product. So we did hand out a couple flyers on that at the track. So that does have the QR code straight to their website for those of you who Blair autographed and gave those away. But for those of you who didn't get the card, just straight up mountainops.com. When you're in the checkout, throw in that code TS Podcast for 20% off. Depending on what specials they have going on, you can use that in combination. Usually it equates, depending on how much you order, it's either free shipping or free shipping plus a little bit off the order. So definitely helps. And it's literally just from you guys watching us and showing us support. So definitely take advantage of that. They have a bunch of giveaways going on right now. If you follow our Instagram page, we've been throwing up their giveaways on our stories for all you hunters out there. There's a huge giveaway. I think it's like $10,000 worth of incentives and hunts and gear and all that good stuff. So definitely go check all that out. And obviously Blair and I are big proponents of it. So without further ado, we'll play that ad and get into dirt dollars for the high limit Gold Cup coming up.
Whether you're chasing checkered flags, chasing elk in the mountains, casting a line, or crushing early morning workouts in the gym, there's one name every high performer should know: Mountain Ops. This team fuels athletes, hunters, racers, and weekend warriors with the cleanest, hardest hitting supplements on the market. Let's be honest, this sport isn't for the soft. Late nights in the garage, long drives to the track, and hot evenings in the pits and in the car. We are built different. That's why we run on Mountain Ops. Their supplements hit hard, feel clean, and don't have all that junk you can't pronounce. From early mornings to late nights on race day, this is the stuff that keeps the crew moving and ready for the next lap. Want in? Head to mtnops.com, enter code TS Podcast at checkout, and get 20% off your order. That's right,
Enter code TSPODCAST at checkout for 20% off your order. You don't just want to show up, you want to win. Fuel like you mean it. Winners use Mountain Ops. Proud supporting partner of the Throwin Sliders podcast.
There we go. Yes, Kenny Spurvey, great podcast, and Zach Fortner, Mountain Ops is bomb. It is. You should definitely check it out if you haven't. I know obviously Zach has because he's used it, or else he wouldn't be commenting yet. But yes, it was a lifesaver. Always is on those hot days and whatever you're doing. So check them out. Thank you to Mountain Ops for the support of this podcast. Let's get into a little Dirt Dollars. I feel like we haven't even played that little promo clip that I made so long ago. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. For those you watching before we play that, you can follow along here, just placing simple hypothetical bets. The bets are not out. Mr. Laporta has not messaged us back as to why the odds don't get released. Literally, they come out like an hour before qualifying, which is unfortunate, but hopefully they get better. So we're going to do a lot of hypotheticals here. Blair and I talked it in the pre-show. Huge deal on the West Coast in Chino. So get your thoughts, picks. Obviously, we know Tara's pick, who had a runner-up finish the other night.
In his own ride.
Yeah. So get your picks for the Gold Cup. Obviously, a 3-day show. We'll play the little intro there, and then we'll get right into it.
We have a shooter and a good one coming out for a new point. Get your bets down, ladies and gentlemen. Get your bets down, ladies and gentlemen. Get your bets down, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. I don't remember the last time we actually picked, but I'm a gentleman tonight, and Blair had some hard luck this weekend. So, who are you picking for the feature event, not the prelim night? Saturday's big deal.
Okay. Yeah. No. He's coming off. He's got in a good ride. He won his first big national tour show, and
Thanks,
it's going to be. Yeah, he's got something to prove. I did notice that he was driving the shit out of his car. For those who didn't see the comment, Spencer Baston, he loses his ride and then has to race Corey Day for the win and ended up getting bested. But man, he was trying hard. So it was good to see he's racing for his life right now.
Can I interject? I learned something too
Sure.
from your wife this week in talking about Mr. Baston. We were joking back and forth of why she picks him because it's based on his looks. And I said, I seen him for the first time. Like, I just haven't really paid attention, I guess. Like I can describe any other driver except for him, I guess, in the high limit room. And I said, oh yeah, I mean, he's a good looking dude, whatever. And, I could see why you think he's hot. And she's like, no, he's not hot. He's cute. There's a big difference. I was like, oh, excuse me. All right. So now we know the definition by Tara Cooper of what hot and cute is. And cute is Spencer Baston. Hot is Blair Cooper, apparently. So anyway.
Yeah, well, she must be blind. But I tricked her, so I still give her a little bit of sprinkle some shit in her drinks. But anyway, it's been 10 years going, so whatever it takes. Yeah, it's a little Mountain Ops and a little special sauce. But no, I'm going with him. He's in a really good ride. He took my always number one pick this year has been Aaron Reitzel, and since he's out, Justin Sanders in that car. He looked really good. Got his first national event win with the Outlaws, I believe, last week, and he's a California guy, so I think he's going to do well there.
Yes. They have not. I checked before the show, and I actually have it pulled up here, but they do not have the full entry list broadcasted, I guess, announced. But I was telling Blair that they did come out and say that if they had 68 or more cars, that they were going to split them up 34 for Thursday, Friday. And I don't know if there's more than 68, but there's at least 68 sprint cars entered for this event, which is freaking insane. But yeah, I think to Blair's point, California track at Silver Dollar, we were talking, Brad Sweet owns it. If you watch the Dirt documentary series on Flow, obviously they highlighted that in last year's, I think it was like second episode with Brad Sweet kind of going there and being the owner and the manager and dictating all that, and then having to go, strap into a rocket ship and actually drive. So I know he's going to be hungry. I just really haven't seen, like, he's been on podiums, finishing top 5 basically every race, but I just don't think that, I know he badly wants that. Excuse me. And we looked up all the previous winners, and he has never won it, which is shocking, being a California kid. But yeah, I'm going to go with the hot hand. I know of he's my guy, and I've picked him a lot this year. But Corey Day is going to get it done. I just think that his and I don't know, but allegedly, you say that now so you don't get in trouble. I learned on watching some documentaries recently. Allegedly, and what I've seen with my own two eyes, when he gets up in the. Also, did you hear the Xfinity Series has changed the name next year to the I can't even say it, O'Reilly Auto Parts. Anyways, when he gets into the Xfinity Series, Truck Series, whatever it may be, he's struggled, right? Because he's used to these 30-lap, sprints in a sprint car, and he hasn't quite been able to put it together a race for 500 miles, and you got to keep the fenders on the thing. So I think he's frustrated, and I think he's fueled because he is not doing well, in his progression. And I think he's just going to come out here and set the world on fire. And obviously coming off a win, was that last week or the week before? I think he's kind of found his footing back in the sprint car where he kind of cut his teeth. So Corey Day's my pick. And if the odds do come out ahead of qualifying, because I usually tune in right at qualifying or halfway through, I definitely will place a small dollar on Corey Day to win it all. So
nice.
Yeah, should be a good show. Like I said, starts Thursday for the prelim night. I don't know the order. And then obviously Friday is the second batch of the cars. Does say here it's all based on points similar to the Chili Bowl on how you get in, and if you don't get in on your prelim night, then you have to obviously race your way in on Saturday via 4 heat races. Let's see, 40 laps for the main, and it pays $100,071 to win. So big deal.
Nice. Yeah.
So definitely be tuned into that. So yeah, we're obviously we had Dirt Vision there at the ASCS race on Saturday, and we obviously we're not sponsored or plugged by either Flow or Dirt Vision, but you literally want to log in, get a subscription, and you can watch not just dirt racing, because Flow has so many other races, but literally any day of the week. I was talking with Danny McBride about it actually, and it's well worth the money if you can foot the bill and to catch all this action and kind of follow along with what we're talking about here on the podcast. So if you have a subscription, definitely try to see if it's in your budget, because it is well worth it.
Yeah. I almost forgot to mention Danny too. It's funny. I always, he obviously sports the shirt, and we've become good friends. We just happened to meet at the racetrack one day, and his son Daniel and his wife, and they had their little boy Apollo there. And even after a bad night, they sit him on the tire of the race car, and it just put a big smile on my face. He just loved being there. And he was sleeping during the main in the truck in the infield. I'm like, how could you sleep during that? It was, my ears were just screaming. And he's obviously in the truck. But shout out to Danny for always lining up behind me and giving me good push-offs. And then also we forgot to mention, we got to meet a longtime listener of the show, Sammy Canella, and he was there, and a big congrats to him. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame this weekend. So he said he's been around the racetrack for about 60 years and really contributed to the sport. He works for High Limit in a role there, and has works with Lake of the Ozark Speedway out of Missouri and everything. And he was pitted with the Coxes and Bradley and them, and I didn't get to talk to any of them. Like I said, we were thrashing. Unless they came over to our pit, we didn't really leave. But it's nice to finally meet Sammy. I know he watches every week. So anyway, congratulations on that, buddy, and it was a pleasure. So yeah, we'll talk to him more.
Yeah, and kudos. Really, like Blair said, obviously we don't usually get the opportunity to kind of go bounce around. I did early on, and I'm not going to spoil it yet, but we should have a guest, a big name guest for Monday. I'll say a big name guest. From next Monday's show, based on just interacting with some folks at the track. But all that to say is just appreciate, obviously we see you guys virtually every single week, all the comments, all the likes. And I say it all the time, and I'll say it again. Literally, if you guys weren't engaging and talking crap and doing all the things in the comments, it would just be Blair and I, talking to each other, which we do anyway. But not live in front of an audience. So we appreciate you guys, virtually every Monday, and then obviously whenever we're at the track, which obviously for Blair is more often than me. But you guys coming up and talking about the show, good, bad, or indifferent, helps us, and just gives us a little bit more motivation to try to continue to put out good content for you. And obviously we're small, and we're not national, we're not these big media stream companies and stuff like that. But we have a good time talking about local stuff, and I think that's the heart of the intent here, right? Is to spotlight the local stuff first, then the national, and then the big stuff, right? So we'll continue to do it as long as you guys continue to show up and watch and continue to engage. So that's really all I had to say about that. I feel like Forrest Gump, but yeah.
Yeah, no, we appreciate everybody that came out, and good times. We'll do it again, and we're going to get back to having some guests, and it's been a thrash. So we appreciate everybody sticking with us. Some of these shows talking about the local, and also Sprint Car Championship for the Northern Plains division that I ran in. Trimble locked that up. He was a guest on the show, so he's had a really good season. They got 3 or 4 wins. They've always
won over the weekend, didn't he?
What's that?
I think Speckman won. I saw a picture
for probably the Black Hills Speedway Championship.
Yeah.
So he's also been on the show. So a lot of these guys, they come on the show and then they win championships and races.
Jen Woods didn't believe us, but you just got to give it some time.
Yeah. So anyway, great job to everybody. I ended up locking in 3rd place in points. That's the first year I ran. I only missed a couple races in that series. So we get a little money there. That'll help pay for that car. And now we've got the Western Plains. We've got 3 races left in this series, and I'm also sitting in 4th, I believe. So we'll see if we can't get the car right, and hopefully we'll make the next one. I think it's Dodge City, but right now it's tentative, and if not, we'll battle with Merritt for 3rd and 4th there the last 2 nights at El Paso County. So it's been fun. It's good to have a little money at the end of a point season instead of just a trophy. So, and Trimble's leading that one too. So hell of a season for that Hefner Mateka Racing, and good to run with those guys. And obviously I always root for him. He's from my hometown and just a really good dude, and his whole family's nice. So it's cool to see. And they're fast. They could run national tour full time. So maybe they'll get the funds, or I'm not sure if they even want to, maybe they could do it anyway, but definitely cool to see some high caliber guys coming out of here.
Sure. No doubt. Yeah. Clyde, to your comment, get Donnie Schatz on the show. Well, if you call him, we will definitely, if you got his number,
we probably could at this point. I know he's probably trying to do some media, and he's taking shots at Tony Stewart, and they've kind of been going back and forth, and man, what a long positive relationship kind of goes south pretty quick. So I kind of understand it from both ends. Yeah,
no doubt. And to Scott's point, I think you missed the comment there, getting the luck for the, I thought he was talking about getting a guest. My bad. So what the heck is with the luck for the co-host? Go back to a guest. Yeah, maybe we just need to get back to.
Maybe I should just do this.
No.
We're racing and just talk about it.
Yeah, well, that's kind of where I'm at a little bit. So it's working out.
Well, you're crew now, so we'll go work on somebody else's cars.
We'll go work on Barry's stuff. And
I could be retired in 5 years if I didn't.
You're the sport mod god, right? So
that's it. And undefeated on crew chiefing for them babies.
See, there you go. All right. Well, like I said, keep tuned to our social media handles. We should be able to announce the guests for next week. Don't want to leak anything and then come up empty-handed, but it sounded like a surefire deal for next Monday, 7:30 Mountain. But once we get confirmation and that all set up, we will definitely announce it. I'm pretty sure you guys are going to know this name. And if you don't, once we announce it, definitely go look this individual up. It's going to be a good one. So until next week, appreciate all you guys tuning in, all the comments, everything I mentioned. Go check out our presenting partner, Racing Rowdy Ranch, and our other partner, Mountain Ops. Give them a shout, and we appreciate that for supporting us. And that's all I had. So Blair, send us off in good fashion.
No, man, I appreciate your help too.
Whistle.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you coming down, buddy. That was a lot of fun. So next time we'll have a better result. How about that?
Yes, let's. We can only go uphill from here, right?
Yeah. Well, sorry, it was all pretty much sprint cars tonight and talking shit to the sport mod guys. There's a little backstory to that if everybody is on Facebook in the Colorado region. So a lot of backstory. We won't cover it here, but we do appreciate you guys. We'll try to get back to covering some other stuff too. It's just been a nightmare. So thanks for hanging with us. And until then, keep just bombing it in there. Throwing them sliders.
Throwing them sliders. See you guys.
This was another production of Scrubbin' Tires Media. The Throwin' Sliders podcast is hosted by Blair Cooper and Brandon Hall. Video and audio was created by Bryce Holcomb. Please like, share, and leave a 5-star review. And as always, keep throwing those sliders.